How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the Athletes Hub podcast. Back again with my usual co-host, Mr. Flexx.
Yes. How's it going, Rich?
Yeah, very well, Flexx. Very well. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. You know, it's been a good week of football, Champions League football happening. The previous weekend of football, and yeah, it's been going well. So
I think
as a whole for football though, but for Chelsea, it's not going well. But that's for another.
Don't worry. We'll skim on that later. Don't worry about that. But listen, look, Flexx, the breaking emerging news. I think you said this to me last night actually, and that was the overturning of the AFCON result. So again, all of us know what happened in AFCON final. A lot of controversy towards the end of the game. A penalty decision that didn't go. Senegal, they should have had a penalty or a goal allowed, and then Morocco go and have a penalty at the other end, and then that sparks chaos where the Senegalese team walk off the pitch for a period of time. They don't return to the pitch. The game carries on. Morocco missed the penalty that they had. Game goes into extra time. Senegal winning in extra time, and then it just, again, the whole game was just chaos. Really, we've not seen anything like this before. Senegal crowned AFCON champions. However, last night, the African Football Federation, released a statement saying that the result was overturned, and Morocco are now the new AFCON champions. And this is because Senegal walked off the pitch for a period of 10 minutes, which led to them, technically forfeiting the match, right? But yeah, it just seems very, very messy, to be honest with you, Flexx. And this is a statement really that they put out. I guess according to, I think it is what can we see here?
Well, it's Article 84, right? That's what they're saying.
Okay, well, yeah, that's the rule there. So according to Article 84, if a team leaves the pitch for a period or specific period of time, they automatically forfeit the game 3-0. So yeah, I mean, it's just a whole very messy situation. Like, what have you made of it?
I think it's BS the whole way through. And the reason why I say that is because from minute one, they've always been trying to find a way to have Morocco win the damn competition. And with that being said, why is it that when they walked off the pitch, they did not just say, hey, you're in violation of this particular ruling. If you don't get back on the pitch in said time, then the match is forfeited. They've had to wait however many months now, right, to then come back to say, oh, by the way, you violated this, and then now we're stripping you guys of the title. It's nonsense. And to be fair, it's a farce of a win anyway. Everybody knows who the real champions are. Everyone who, participated in the competition by way of watching or whatever the case is know who the real champions are. So they can do what they want, because at the end of the day, from the crazy refereeing decisions and etc. that's been going on throughout the whole competition, they've always wanted Morocco to be the champions. They should even be embarrassed and ashamed to even accept it. They should actually reject it, to be fair. They should actually say, you know what, we never won it on the pitch, so we don't even want it. That's what they should say. And just say, you know what, how about we just void, the winner of this competition? If Senegal have to lose it, then nobody should win it. That's what should happen. It shouldn't just be, oh, well, we're just handing it over to the next, to the runners up. Like, that's crazy. So, I mean, I'm just going to quickly link that to the whole Man City 115 charges and so on. So you mean to tell me if they get found of all 115 violations or a substantial amount of those violations, are they then going to hand Manchester United the Premier League trophy that they could have won? They're not going to do that. They'll probably just void it and just say, hey, you know what, then nobody won it. And It'll just be known as void. So why don't they apply the same thing here? I tell you why. It's because they're a bunch of cheats and they've always wanted Morocco to win.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is just a bit of a mess, really. I think it's embarrassing for everyone involved, to be honest. I think we've had a lot of conversations about the state of African football. The African Cup of Nations has been wanted to be considered as a major football tournament and recognised by everybody for a long, long time, right? And I think the way that this tournament has ended, it's just been a shame for Senegal. Again, look, Senegal have received a trophy. The players have got medals. The players have gone back to their respective clubs. They've been lauded as heroes. They've got the trophy. Are you really going to take that trophy away from them? They've been celebrating for months, and now you're telling them that they can't celebrate because they're not really champions. And again, for Morocco, you're being handed a 3-0 victory by default because they forfeited. It doesn't really feel, as you said, it doesn't really feel like a victory, though, does it? So I think Flexx, I think that AFCON will find it hard to recover from this, because we have to remember as well that the shocking officiating, by the way, which led up to the incident of Senegal walking off the pitch, that's almost been swept under the carpet, and nobody's really looked into that as much. But a lot of the games throughout the AFCON tournament, right, there's been a lot of questions about the standard of officiating there, and as you said, this sort of hidden bias of wanting Morocco to win the tournament. And we saw specific incidents throughout the tournament, which that seems to be quite apparent. But it's just a shame for everyone, Flexx. And I think the credibility of the AFCON after this is going to be hit hard. And the battle with African football wanting to be taken seriously, I think that's still going to be a question or a conversation that we have for a long, long time, to be honest with you. And it's just crazy. It's sad, really, Flexx. It's sad. And as you said, Morocco, you look at it and you're thinking, listen, I don't know. Listen, I've never seen a situation like this in football before, where a tournament's over, as you said, for a number of months. All of a sudden, you come back and you say, well, no, those champions are not champions anymore. Well, as you said, they've referred back to one of the rules in a statement. Surely during the match and during the incident when Senegal walk off the pitch, right, somebody's got to be timing this to say, okay, well, they've been off the pitch for 10 minutes here now. They can't return to the pitch because they violated these rules. So therefore, Morocco automatically are champions. Why has nobody pointed that out in the moment? And secondly, why not just point it? If that's the case, why have you waited months? Why not just point it out the day after? The moment you hand Senegal the trophy in the ceremony, yeah, you can't change that. You can't go back on that rule because you've handed them the trophy. So if they're, again, referring to these rules that they violated, why has that not been brought up in the heat of the moment? And secondly, what if there's a bit of a delay, there's a bit of a scuffle, and there's a bit of chaos? Why has it not been addressed before the official ceremony of handing out the trophy? Because the moment you give me that trophy, for me, I'm a winner at that point. You can't change anything. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. And this is why I say that it means nothing. Because at the end of the day, we all know who won the trophy on the pitch. So when you go about trying to now apply a ruling and, find different ways of having these guys win the trophy, even though we know that that's not the case and whatever, it's a nonsense. And like you said, we'll never be taken serious after this. Like, that's it. We're done. We're cooked. There's no coming back from this. We are small boys when it comes to this whole, international footballing and stuff like that, because you don't see this happening in major tournaments, And to be fair, you don't see teams walking off in other major tournaments, because if this was the World Cup and let's say Senegal, was meeting Morocco in the quarterfinals or whatever, they would not have walked off the pitch, I don't think, right? Because
also, Flexx, you mentioned this before, and when we spoke about this when it happened at the time, we have to remember the events leading up to them walking off the pitch. And I said as well at the time, I didn't agree with them walking off, because are we going to get to a point in football where if decisions don't go your way, right, you're going to walk off the pitch? I don't think that's right, because we'll be stopping the game every 5 minutes around the world. So I don't think we should get into that particular in that realm. But the officiating was shocking, though, man. Like, yeah. It was just shocking, to be honest with you. The decisions that got wrong, especially with VAR there as well. There's no look at VAR. When Morocco get their penalty, they go to VAR. It just didn't really make sense.
That's what makes it more egregious when that was happening, because the referee blows his whistle. Why didn't he let the game breathe and go to VAR, so then they could have seen if that was an incident or not? But then it goes into the other box, then he wants to go to VAR. And like you said, it was an accumulation of different things that just made, the boiling point of, hey, look, they're really trying to take the mickey here. So we've got to just walk off the pitch because we're not going to stand for this. And I agree. This ruling doesn't take into account the context of why they walked off the pitch. That's not even being addressed. Like you said, the poor officiating, the whole undertone of Morocco trying to get Morocco to the final, because they felt like, in my opinion, if Morocco is not in the final, then the stadium's going to look empty. It just wouldn't be good for the competition. So they've found a way to get these guys to the final. Not saying that they played so bad and they only got to the final because of refereeing decisions. They were actually one of the better teams in the competition and deserve to be in the final. I'll definitely agree to that. But the undertone, the context, all of these different things, that's why the Senegalese team walks off the pitch. And look, we all know who the champions are. I feel like they should just void it and say if they are gonna stick to that ruling, then it should just be voided. Nobody wins. But you can't now. What they're gonna do now? What they're gonna go and have a flipping open bus party in Morocco now? Like it's crazy. Like I mean, I saw videos online.
Well, I mean, what happens to the medals? Because the Senegalese players have the medals, right? So are they going to return the medals, or would they be made? Will there be new ones made?
They'll make new ones, and they'll send them out to Moroccan boys, and
So the ones, okay, so the Senegalese players who have their medals, I mean, they're not really champions though, right? So your character, yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
It's a farce. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a nonsense, and it really is a nonsense because what? So them boys are going to keep their medals in their house, and like what does it mean? Like it's a nonsense, and
it's embarrassing. The whole situation, because everyone involved in this, is embarrassing for everyone. And we've grown up watching African Cup of Nations for many years. We in our households regard it as a big tournament. Obviously, our parents, they see it a big tournament, and we take it seriously, right? But when you look at these situations, it's not a good advert for the rest of the world, and we're still in a fight to be taken seriously when it comes to African football. There's great players for these nations, Flexx. There's great players for these nations, but when you look at a situation like this, again, the way it's handled, the fact that you guys have referenced a rule in your statement, but that rule wasn't made effective during the course of the game or during that incident, you've waited months to make this decision, right? You've got players from the other team who are still going to keep their medals and still have a trophy, although they're not really champions. The standard of officiating was shocking, and nobody's really addressed that as well. There's so many parts of this that doesn't look great for Africa. And again, as much as it's made steps in terms of, the stadiums it's building in these countries to host tournaments, the players that are representing African countries who play in Europe at a high level, there's still a lot of work to be done. And I said before, I don't think that they can recover from this, just because when you take all these things into consideration, I've never seen in my years of watching football a team win a tournament and then months later that's been taken away from them. I've never seen that. Maybe I'm not old enough to know. Maybe it's happened. But I've not seen anything like that before.
No. I haven't seen it. And to be fair, this is I guess in the modern era, this is the first of its kind. And it's a shame that it's had to have happened in this type of competition with, again, a competition that was already struggling against the other international competitions, right? Not in terms of what Jamie Carragher are going to go and say now. Do you see what I mean? Like these type of people are already somewhat speaking against the competition, and then this happens, and then now it's giving them an even stronger position to hold when talking about the African Cup of Nations. Like they've killed it. And hey, I guess it is what it is, right? You know what I mean? What can we do?
Yeah, I mean, last question. Do you think that players will eventually, considering what's happened in this tournament, do you think that players will eventually pull out of tournaments, future AFCON tournaments, due to something like this happening again?
Yeah, of course. Because what's the point? If they've shown that this can happen once, what's to say that you're gonna go there, play your heart out, do all you can do, feel like you're being robbed, you take a stand, and then you win a game, and then eventually it gets taken away from you. Then the best players will just wait until they can play for a European nation, like they've been doing. Maybe these guys already kind of knew that this was, these guys have that in them to go and do dumb stuff like this. So what's the point of, subscribing to it? We already know, like the different federations within the continent don't treat the players that come and travel for international duty the best anyway. So the flagship competition, when that is not even being handled correctly, just makes younger boys who are watching just think, you know what, I'll just wait for England, Germany, Holland, France, Belgium, wherever, Poland.
I think Flexx as well, you have to remember that for a lot of these boys who are playing for the African countries, this is their World Cup. No, they won't play. Some of these African countries don't play World Cups. They don't qualify for World Cups regularly. They won't play for England and European nations, even though they're eligible, right?
Absolutely.
Them playing for African countries, this is their World Cup. AFCON is their tournament. You know, I think Asamoah Gyan said it to them. This is their World Cup. Like this is the tournament they live for. So it'd be hard for players to pull out of that because of that reason. But at the same time, again, I just refer back to it. It's just a mess because I go back to it again. When Senegal got the fine and the manager got fined for leading the walkout and stuff, you didn't reference this rule at that time when you fined them.
Nope.
So why reference it now?
Again, they tried. They've tried hard. They've always wanted Morocco to win the competition. We all knew this watching the competition. We all knew this. But we always knew that Senegal were the best team in the competition. And it just happened to be that they met in the final and this is what the end result was. And they weren't trying to have it. And it's mad. Like, do you remember in the Euro finals at Wembley when Chiellini dragged Saka back like a great called him like he stole something or like he didn't get sent off, right? Now, some would say that is unsportsmanlike conduct or whatever it is.
But it's a sportsmanlike conduct. But if you look at it, the position it was on the pitch, it's a yellow card. If it was Saka was the last man, then it's a red card, isn't it? Really.
It's if that happened in the AFCON, they would have found a way to have sent the guy off. Or whatever the case is. This is the point I'm trying to make. They'll find a way to make it fit the narrative that they want to push. But in the European competitions and World Cup and even out in Asia and in the Americas, why is it that they just try to just follow the rules somewhat and just do things the right way and not try and find ways to always have Argentina, Brazil, or whatever win? Like it's beyond me, man. It makes me feel like I don't even care about the thing no more. Do you get what I mean? Like that's just like whatever, innit?
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? But listen, guys, let us know what you think in the comments about the overturning of the result. Morocco are now officially the new AFCON 2026 champions, 2025 champions, I should say. Let us know what you think about that in the comments. But before we go, Flex, I've got to ask you about the mauling at the bridge last night. Listen, Flex, there was no protect for the ball. There was no respect for the ball. You know, what happened? I know that at Chelsea you've got a leadership group that, you know, practices unity before the games with the huddle. But listen, the ball was left with no protection, man, no respect. Like, what happened? How is the ball, by the way?
This guy. Hey, look, he sprung this on me, guys. I'll just tell you, I wasn't prepared to talk about this today. You know, I'm still recovering from the embarrassment of last night. And hey, look, I knew this was going to happen. I knew that was going to get, like, after the final 10, 15 minutes of the first leg and seeing how easily we just got decimated, I knew we had no chance at the bridge, especially the fact that we had Reece James out and so on. And I saw the players, that's the starting lineup. I just thought, yeah, forget about it, man. And look, man, we got spanked. This is just what it is. We can't win with these kids. You just can't do it. You need experience in these type of competitions. Now, maybe in a few years, if they keep the group together, they will become more experienced. Obviously, they will all be older in age, and then maybe things will look better if they fulfill their potential as players and the quality that they do.
You're Club World Cup champions, though, as you like to remind us. So
yeah, we are. I mean, and I'd like to remind you again, the only place where you can see all European trophies. I like to remind you of that.
So the world champions get spanked, yeah?
Oh, 100%.
The team that you beat in that tournament as well, by the way.
Absolutely, it can happen, you know. But the difference is that we beat them for something and they've beat us for nothing. So they haven't won the Champions League by beating us, right? So it doesn't really matter at this point. If they go on to win the Champions League and, you know, do a double, fair play, you know, fair play. But at this point, they beat the world champions. Look, Burnley got a draw of the world champions. It doesn't mean nothing, right? You know what I mean? It doesn't mean nothing. So
yeah, but I just wanted to check on the ball, see if the ball was all right. Because I know you guys didn't show any respect for it. You didn't really protect it yesterday, did you? To be fair,
we did do a good job of protecting the ball, and we never done it over 2 legs. So
Unfortunately, isn't it?
Unfortunately, but you know what? It's nice to play in the competition. It's hard to say for you lot, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but we'll be in the next season, though, won't we? But you probably won't be.
Yeah, but it's hard to say for you lot, isn't it? I mean, right now you just have to watch. You know what I mean?
Flex, man. Don't deflect. We'll be in the next season. You guys will probably be playing Europa League football. Club World Champions playing Europa League football next season. It's not great, is it?
You guys didn't play no European football this season, did you? Like nothing, right? Not even the Conference League, right? Like, remind me, like no Europe, like nothing, right?
No, but we've got 3 European trophies to our name, haven't we? So,
I mean, well, 1 game a week, right?
Yeah, listen, just Flex, just protect the ball next time, right? Protect the ball and show respect to it, right? Listen, guys. Flex, be good as always. Guys, let us know in the comments what you think about AFCON controversy as well. Again, subscribe to us on YouTube, like and subscribe. We really appreciate your support. And you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and also X. And Flex, I'll catch you in the next one.
Yes, sir. Pleasure.